All right, welcome to another Q&A. I'm Kurt Clendenin with KaPow Intergalactic Film Festival and 2021, and we are here with Andie Morgenlander. And are you Joshua Overbay?
That's me.
Okay, very good, very good. Want to make sure I got these names correct. So you two have quite a few credits. I was looking at your IMDb pages. My gosh, you two have just been like prolific with creating stuff.
Yeah, it's being a filmmaker is a full-time job, and so I think, try to take as many, advantage of many opportunities as we can. And so we often work together, and then we also have projects that are separate as well. So yeah.
How long have you two been working together?
So we have been working together for about 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe going on 5 years, and now we're also married. So the opportunities to collaborate have expanded.
Yeah, yeah.
House during quarantine, we're like, well, we have each other, we have our stepdaughter, so we can still make stuff. And I think both of us, we were really lucky that we got two projects off the ground in 2019 that we shot, so it kind of timed out okay, and that we have been in post-production for a lot of this year as well.
So did you go to college for filmmaking, or did you just kind of teach yourself?
You can go first.
Well, I went to my undergrad was totally unrelated. I was studying like philosophy and theology, and ended up, doing sales for a while with that degree. And in the process, really decided to take the risk of going to film school. So I did go to grad school for film, and then luckily, when I graduated, I ended up teaching. And it was really teaching film that ended up creating the stability for me to actually make movies. So I've been doing that now for 10 years.
So you were making movies while you were teaching. You were doing this simultaneously, huh? Oh
Still,
God,
yeah, still am.
that's fantastic. That's great.
And I actually went to school for acting. So I have acted ever since I was little, and was an actor first, but then pretty quickly got disenchanted with the theater industry as well as the film industry, especially in regards to what was being offered for young women at the time that I was finishing school, and got a lot more excited about being in the director, producer, writer role, especially for film. So I sort of have all the slashes, and work as a writer and as a director, and also I'm still auditioning, and I teach yoga as well. So doing the juggle to be able to still make the movies for sure.
Well, it's important to be able to have all those different talents and skills, because you start seeing how they start feeding together through one another. And you're going, "Ooh, let's take," and you start Frankensteining things together. You're going, "Oh, I'm going to take a piece from this thing I learned and a piece from this thing." And once you start producing your own movies and stuff, you're able to kind of put it all together, huh?
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, just more opportunities to storytell. Like, I mean, I wanted to, at first really tell stories that were passionate to me, but I think being a producer, or writer also allows you to be in collaboration with so many other different people, and support the tellings of their stories as well, which is something that's really important to me. So, um, yeah, producing also, I think, leads to a lot of collaboration, which is really cool.
Oh my God, absolutely. Because you're not, especially, I mean, with anyone in the industry, we're always hearing about, oh, it's so oversaturated for actors. Oh, it's so oversaturated for directors. Oh, oversaturated for writers. But the crazy thing is like, when you're carving your own path, none of that, like, like it doesn't make a difference. Like you're not putting your fate up into someone else's hands. You're not in this constant state of desperation of like, oh, please hire me, please hire me. Now you're going, okay, I'm writing myself roles. I'm creating my own projects. And I can only imagine, for you two to be like living in the same location, and to be so creative, and to be, both exploring these areas. I mean, I can only imagine how even more prolific you probably are, being able to like utilize just one location.
Yeah, I think both of us definitely. I really enjoy being able to both, work on our own distinctive projects, come back, talk to each other about them, also collaborate on projects together. I think that's it's really fantastic to be able to do that, and to be with someone that understands the passion for storytelling. I don't know how you feel
No,
about that.
well, I was just thinking about, we just got back, we took Annabelle, our daughter, who's in Glimmer, who does such a great job. We took her to the mall, and we were driving on our way there. We were both like exchanging our days, and she's like, I'm working on this log line. Let me read it to you. And so we're going back and forth. And then I was like, I've been working on this with a couple different writers, a horror script now since 2014, and so we're getting very, very close to getting it financed. But I was just pouring over the third act and was like stressed about this particular plot point, and was like, what do you think about this? So it is really awesome to have someone both to work with, but also just to bounce ideas off of, and get their honest feedback. And we're both very, very candid with each other, and I think we both care about each other enough to really want to help each other. And so there's not, we're generous with each other, but we are very honest too.
Well, it sounds like you're more in a spirit of collaboration rather than a competition. People can run into that aspect as well, where they're like, they always feel like they're in competition, or they got to be better than whatever this person's doing or something. I realize that when you collaborate, when you're cooperating together, that's where the greatest gold is found, because you're both yes-anding each other.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think the industry is already so competitive as it is, that it's nice to not be that way. I mean, I think I think it's hard for me, of course, and other independent filmmakers as well, to not compare yourselves, but it's definitely I don't think really helps anybody or anything or anyone's career to be competitive about narrative storytelling. So I certainly struggle with it, but also much more believe in collaboration and mutual support than making movies any other way.
Well, and I think that's the thing too. It's like we always hear about that phrase, make the art that you want to see in the world. And when you do that, it takes care of itself. You're not trying to, Frankenstein together something where like, oh, this is a hot topic, or oh, that's a trend, or this thing or that thing. You're going, okay, what story do I want to tell? I'm going to make, like that old phrase that says, what is that? Necessity is the mother of invention, basically. Where you're going, okay, I want to see this story told. I can't expect anyone else to tell it. Well, okay, I guess I'm the one who's going to tell it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I once saw this. I don't watch C-SPAN, so forgive me, but I was watching C-SPAN, which and there was an author on there. Her name was Anne Lamott. She's kind of a writer that I used to read a lot of, but she was talking about how the thing that would inspire her to write a book would be when she's walking through the bookstore, the book that she can't find that she's desperately looking for. And I thought, filmmaking is the same. Any art is, you want to find that thing that you wish was out there that isn't. And that's always been like a good, guide for me too. So yeah, I definitely agree.
Well, and I think guide is a really good word, because it's guiding you to it. It's like going, it's like over there hiding behind the tree, yodely hee hoo. It's like playing hide and seek. It's like, I'm over here. It's like it's waiting for you to find it, but it's like you have to follow that. You have to follow it in order to find it. You have to trust that it's going to be leading you there. And um, I think it's great that you two have this mindset where you're bouncing ideas off each other. You feel free enough to give ideas to one another, knowing that the other isn't going to approach it from an ego point of view. They're going to approach it from a point of view going, wow, yeah, okay, I see that you want to make this work. Okay, what kind of pieces can we fit in there to kind of help you out?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think also, like, I don't know how you feel about this. Like, okay, for tonight, like, no more movie talk. Yeah. Like, let's watch some reality TV and eat some food and not talk about our projects at all. I think that's the balance, being able to go all the way into it, but then be like, okay.
Well, we had to kind of figure that out. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I was just saying that's something we had to figure out early in our relationship, is having the conversations at after 10 or 9, it's like we need that boundary, because it could just especially we both work jobs and do make movies, and so it could bleed into everything. So we do our best, I think, to the boundaries.
So who are some of your influences? Who are some of the, your favorite, let's say, writers or directors or authors? Who are some of the people that influence you where you're like, ooh, you know what? That makes me to want to, that inspires me to want to tell a story.
That's a great question. I think like favorite filmmaker that I'm loving so much right now is a French filmmaker named Celine Sciamma. I don't know if you're familiar with any of her work, but
No, but I'm writing her name down because what has she done?
she directed the movie that came out in 2020 was Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And she's also directed films. Tomboy is another one that's one of my favorites, and Girlhood, Tomboy, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Water Lilies. And am I missing one? Or is that her full filmography? Anyways, her films are just beautiful, beautiful portrayals of relationship, and she's a feminist filmmaker, and she really turns these ideas of power dynamics that have so much been looked at as like foundational for scenes kind of on their head. So rather than it always being a like who's getting the upper hand in the scene, for example, like in Portrait of a Lady on Fire, her most recent movie, she talks um, about how their love is like a love between equals, and what if they wanted the same thing in the scene, but it was actually their circumstances that were the thing that was getting in the way, rather than it having to be like a power struggle between the two of them. And I mean, she just has a very unique and nuanced way of portraying relationships and gender identity, gender expression, and sexuality. And so she's definitely my favorite. And I am very inspired a lot by Ava DuVernay's work as well, and just how she is really just shifting the landscape of narrative filmmaking, both in terms of equity and anti-racism within the processes, but also just like with the stories that she puts up on the screen. And so many more, but those are definitely Celine Sciamma and Ava DuVernay. I would say are in my mind's eye a lot as like guiding lights of what I hope I can create and share with the world.
It's cool. How about you, Josh?
This is the tough one. I would say, I have these kind of two wings. I have Star Wars, which really is ultimately the thing that planted the seed in my brain as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, always is like, I mean, I have a Star Wars sleeve.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Oh, that's great.
um, and so that for me is my childhood. And also I just really believe in like the power of myth, and how myth is really, I think, important for society to translate itself, and for folks to find meaning. So that's really always core to me. And then with that, I have this real love for European cinema and independent cinema, and filmmakers like Bergman and Tarkovsky have been really influential for me. A lot of the work that I've done has dealt explicitly with faith or a religious experience, but from a more objective perspective, without, say, kind of the propagandistic kind of right wing perspective, and maybe the more kind of skeptical, cynical perspective that is often on the other side. So those filmmakers for me were really inspiring, because you know they take that experience very seriously and as a part of the human experience, which I think in American cinema doesn't often happen. So I mean, there's so many other filmmakers too, and I think being able to be a filmmaker helps you. You can be inspired every time you watch a movie if you're really paying attention. So
So for instance, with Glimmer, how long did it take for you guys to write that? How long did it take for you to?
well, I think it was a family project in that Andie's sister Sean wrote the script. We came up with the idea, sort of the three of us, I think, when were we together for Christmas
I think we were all at Christmas together.
Yeah, and we were like, maybe we could shoot something in a few weeks. We just had like,
I think it was like before. I think it was like early December.
Okay, yeah.
It was like not that far. It was not that close in advance, but
yeah,
we were talking about writing a Christmas script, and I think that the narrative kind of came together when we were all at my childhood home in Durham for Christmas.
Wow.
wanted to do something where Annabelle could act, and try it on, and then we knew if Andie was in it that would probably make it easier for her and give them an opportunity to act together. So Sean ended up writing the script, and then I think the story itself kind of emerged from the three of us.
Yeah. I mean, production really came together in like a month and a half, 2 months.
Isn't it amazing? Like when you see that something like that is possible, you realize like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, all I have to do is follow the inspiration and it takes care of itself. As long as I don't get too much overthinking in the way, as long as I don't let the overanalyst get in the way and go, well, hold on, we got to pass that through this filter and we got to pass that through this filter. If you're just following the inspiration, things can just get born like quickly, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I think like because we already knew like, okay, we're gonna shoot this at our house. It's gonna involve us three. It's gonna be Christmas. We kind of created the like ultra no budget scenario with which to shoot it, which I think that's where like the producer writer mindset can help a little bit, just because you already have those circumstances and then you can kind of work within them to come up with something that's hopefully in this case really really touching and lovely.
So did you end up shooting that when you were at your childhood home, or how did you find that location?
Yeah, it was Josh's house at the time. So we actually came back to Asheville. We live in Asheville, North Carolina. But we came back to Asheville after Christmas, and Josh's house was still decorated from Christmas. So we were like,
Cool.
use this. And then of course we had Zachary Gladwin was our production designer, and he just did like a beautiful job.
I was gonna say production design was great, the lights and everything. It was just really
The
cool.
we're not already there. That was That was a production design. I mean,
Wow.
much of it was production.
And then the
design.
snow too. Was that real? Did you have a snow machine or what? How'd you do that?
It was a mix of some digital snow, and then also we use like what's it called, a core
Fake snow and a sifter.
and a sifter.
So we like used a sifter and then
Awesome. That's
animated
great.
it as like so that there was like some in camera that we could go over essentially.
It was a really cool effect because it really looked like it was snowing inside the house. It was really cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was really cool what you did with that movie where there really you left space for patience. You left space for like where it was like, okay, we don't need any talking here. We're just gonna we're gonna see it through this little kid's eyes, and we're just gonna be patient and be in this moment with this kid and see what happens here. And then the big reveal, you're like, whoa, this is an elf. And then and then it's cool because like it was interesting because the way that you portrayed the elf, at least the way that it came across to me, was that the elf was almost felt like, uh-oh, this kid caught me. Like I wasn't supposed to get caught, but also at the same time, it felt like you wanted the kid to catch you because you had a message. You wanted to give that message to the kid.
Right. Yeah, totally. I think that's like exactly, I think it's one of those jobs where you're like the elves in it because they know that they're doing something that is supporting the world, and that, the stealth is a huge part of, pulling off.
Yeah.
And like there's the like like exactly what you said, the excited / scared moment of like, am I gonna get caught? But then also like, maybe it's been my dream to get caught so I could actually like see one of these kids that I'm
Yeah, that's right. Because that's such an interesting thing. Because the kids never see the elves, and the elves never really actually see the kids. So that it's like a myth for both of them if you think about it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then I love that too. They're like the humanity and like the connection ultimately is like what comes out of the initial like we're debunking the myth moment.
It's cool too because with the mother, you like the way that you just alluded to the idea that the mother died. It's like because when you first view it, when I first viewed it, I'm like, where's this kid's like this is interesting. The kid just has this house to himself, like I just saw his mom, and then I just saw the mom a little bit ago, and then when I re-saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, the mother, that was the ghost of the mother. It was like you're showing without telling. You're not spelling it out, and I love that kind of, it was like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool. We were definitely aiming for the a hopeful but realistic depiction, I think, of a child that you often don't see in grief. But then, and I think the holidays, often will touch on the joy and the sorrow of, the folks that close family members that you miss. I know it certainly does for me. So, having that element there, I think really we wanted it to feel grounded in that, but we
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be able to live